This video is a little bit different in that it encompasses more students' involvement as opposed to just me being the teacher offering instructions and teaching. Because the reason for that is that I wanted to cover and satisfy standards 4 and 5. There were several things. I wanted all the students to get involved because what ends up happening is, generally with a lot of projects, you have the strong students taking over the whole group because they're perfectionists. They want everything to get done, and then the weaker students, they feel intimidated. But this one, I was deliberate in setting it up where everyone's involved. Everyone has to participate. And so I had the arts and craft component. And so students get to color and then set up a script. And the reason why we wanted to set up a script so that students could memorize their lines when they get home, so that when they get up there, they don't feel very self-conscious or intimidated. I know it's very daunting for public speaking, even as a native speaker, adult, let alone someone who's 7 to 10-year-old having to come up in front of class and present in a second language. And so what ends up happening is that you have, as you can see through the video, you have a few 7-year-old who have to do this in front of class in a second language. So several things, I think. Yeah, so several things that I covered earlier: arts and craft, where everyone's involved, the script we set up. And what's also interesting about PBL here, or project-based learning, specifically at this center, is that we had to work with another teacher. So we work with them collaboratively and also with our TA. And so it becomes like a group effort. I noticed I was much more proactive in approaching them and checking up on them to see how the students are doing, how are they progressing. Recently, we had a few struggling students, so there's a little bit more pressure on us to do better. And so with now, we because of the setup with this co-working space among teachers, it forces us to really be proactive and also work collaboratively with another teacher. So I think ideally, in a lot of spaces, this is what you want. You want teachers to work collaboratively with one another, effectively and positively, and also with getting the TA involved. So in the video, you see that the TA was providing instructions. He walked around providing material and also do some translation. But I also, in a lot of my classes, both at the center and public school, I specifically want the students to do the translation, the strong students. The reason for that is that it allows them to practice. It improves their confidence level, and it also transfer over to other students so that they can see them as a role model. And of course, I pretend I don't understand. I understand, obviously, most of their Vietnamese. I pretend I don't understand, and I ask the TA to listen in to see if the translation is correct. Sometimes it's incorrect, and that's okay. And I have the TA there to kind of jump in and make the correction. But the idea behind it is that it allows my students to practice. I know it takes the job away from the TA, but sometimes I like that better. So yeah, and also throughout the video, you will see that some students struggle, and this is normal in every class, in every period, in every projects. You have the weak students, you have the strong students, and you have the average students. And so the weaker students, it's called differentiation. So I make the effort to allow them to read, because otherwise they're going to stand there and struggle, and then they feel embarrassed in front of the whole class. And of course, I had the strong students in the group come over and help them. So that's the other aspect that I wanted to cover in this session. Yeah, and also several other students. This project, I want students to offer feedback. So throughout the video, you see that students offer positive as well as room for improvement, not just from me, but from themselves, so that they learn to offer positive feedback to one another and not just be so negative with one another. Yeah, and also because these are English learners, this is their second language. When you see my instructions, I tend to kind of not water down, but speak slower, deliberately speak slower, and also use body language to convey my message, as opposed to being up there and talk really fast and use jargon. The reason for that is that I wanted to make sure that all the students understood my instructions.